What up, and welcome back to another episode of FilmFit. Today, we're going to be talking about iPhone filmmaking. So in a world where everybody has a little camera, a cinema camera in their pocket, it's becoming more and more common for people to want to become filmmakers. So with that, today I'm going to be showing you guys how to utilize your iPhone to get the best possible image out of it so you can start making your films. One thing to go into making films when using your iPhone is to remember that it's not a cinema camera, and it never will be, and it's not a replacement for it, and that's not what I'm saying. But what it is a good starting point. It's an entry-level camera that anybody has access to at really any point in time. Whether it's yours, your parents, your friends, whatever. Somebody has a smartphone. So it's finding those apps and it's finding those tools that you can use and shaping what you already know about filmmaking to utilize the device you have to its fullest potential. So with today's episode, I'm not going to be using any special apps. I'm just going to be using everything that is native to the iPhone. I'm not using any external mics. I'm using the headphones that came with the iPhone. I'm using the built-in camera, no extra apps, just to prove to you that you can still get a really high quality image right out of the box. So right here, we're going to go ahead and take a look at a couple shots. You're going to see how, yeah, it can look very just iPhone, but when you shape the light a little bit and you really get it in focus and you get those angles and you remember the tools that we use from episode 2 of FilmFit, that the shot composition and really making sure that your subject's in frame and that what's important is in focus and all those kinds of things, really shaping your light, motivating your light so that your subject looks as best as possible and so that your image looks as cinematic as possible. We're going to take a look at a couple settings. We're going to go into your settings and go into your camera. And then once you're in your camera, you're going to go to your camera quality. And natively, it shoots at 1080 at 30 frames per second, which is good. It's HD, I think is what it calls it. We're going to go in, change the settings, and we actually, and most of your newer cameras, I don't quote me on this, but I know for sure the iPhone X and up, you can go into your camera and you can change it to 4K. This camera in particular, I'm shooting on the iPhone XR, and so I can shoot at 4K at 60 frames per second, shoot at 4K at 24, 4K at 30. For these sample shots, we're gonna be shooting at 4K at 30 frames per second to give you that kind of film look. 4K at 24 frames per second gets a little jittery for whatever reason. So we're gonna do 4K at 30, and we're still gonna try and get as much of a cinematic shot. So right here, I'm gonna shoot a couple sample shots, throw some music over it, throw a soft color grade over it, and see that we're gonna be able to get a pretty nice image out of the iPhone. So once you guys get your smartphones out, you play with the settings and you find what works best to get the best possible image. You start adapting those tools that you learned in other episodes, and you start adapting the tools that you learned from filmmaking and for filmmaking, and so that you can start creating images. Don't let not having gear limit you to making films. All you gotta do is get a lamp, get a window, get your iPhone. If you're recording an interview like this, you can just pop the headphones on. You can get a good mic. It picks up sound really well. It's clean. Yeah, it doesn't look the best. It doesn't hide the best, but sure, it gets the job done. Clean audio. You know, I'm getting a 1080 image minimum. I can go all the way up to 4K saying I got something for that. And again, don't let your device limit you. Don't let not having a 4K cinema camera limit the fact that you want to make films, because you do. It's a passion, right? The device doesn't matter, it's the story that you're telling it with. So if you learn filmmaking and you take the device that you have, and you take what gear you do have, and you make do. Being a filmmaker is not about having the nice gear. Being a filmmaker is about telling a story and making the best of what you already have. So that's all I got for this week. I hope it was a little bit of inspiration. I hope that I showed you that. I hope that you were able to walk away with something. And don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and tune in next week when I learn how to do a backflip off the Empire State Building.